From the deep, dark reaches of Star Trek Online comes Nikodas, Tabbytha, and Grebog with another episode of Fleet Action Report.
Welcome to Fleet Action Report, the show where we don't just play the game, but we teach you how to play the game. I am Tabbytha, and over there is Grebog.
And lurking in the shadows is Nikodas, unfortunately not feeling so well. He may pipe in once in a while, but he doesn't have much of a voice, so do not expect him to talk.
He has been transmuted into a horse this week.
Hello.
But I appreciate the presence. Yeah, so also Tabby is recovering from being sick still, so I told Tabby at the beginning that, well, before we began, that if she needs to stop talking, don't worry about it. I got the show. The show will go on.
Anybody who knows me knows how hard it is to get me to stop talking.
Well, there's that. All right, yeah, this is episode 168. What's that button? Because I'm goofy and that's the way it rolls.
I mean, that episode titles actually kind of comes from me, though. I got to take credit for that one.
Yes.
Actually, no. Actually, mine was like, "What does this button do?"
And then I decided to go to who's that Pokemon with it and change it a little bit. If you want to support us, go to coffee.com. Yes, that's ko-fi.com/GREBOG, and that is where you can support us. Also, you can support us by following us here and hanging out and chatting, lurking, whatever. It's all good. Tabby, what's your week been? And what's your week been, and how are you doing? We kind of covered a little bit of it.
Well, my week has been living with and recovering from the COVIDian death plague. But other than that, because I've been sick, I've taken I was forced off of work for the week, much to my dismay. But it turns out I needed it. So I spent most of it sitting on the couch watching Star Trek Voyager and drinking water and tea and eating soup.
Hopefully you both get to feeling better soon. As for me and my week, it's pretty much the same. I working on show notes, playing STO, doing the daily stuff, I'm playing WoW. Getting close to having Glory of the Dragonflight Hero in WoW, which is going through all of the dungeons that they put in for this content. For this expansion, and getting the achievements out of them. Some of them have been quite interesting. One of them that struck me as kind of cute and fun. There's an egg hidden in Ruby life pools. If you carry it through and get hit with certain abilities, once you complete the dungeon, the egg will hatch. And then you have this little whelp that follows whoever carried the egg through the dungeon. It'll follow them around. So that was kind of cute.
Aww.
So yeah, that's one of the things we've been I have a group that we've been working on. We are down to only one dungeon left, and then we'll have the achievement. We're talking about some of the dungeons have more achievements than what is needed for Glory of the Dragonflight Hero. So we plan on going back through the others, because first we want to get the mount and those achievements associated to the big one. Yeah. Because some of the others are like, you have to like literally clear the entire dungeon of everything to find these really weird hidden things. And one of those is in Brackenhide. There's like stuff hidden all over in that place, and you have to nearly clear the entire place of all the trash. So, yeah. Anyway, so This week, we still have the event going on. You have until the 12th to get your 20 completions, which means you're running out of time. You no longer have 20 days left, but you can still get a fair number to get it cut down if you, because there's 14 days left, essentially. Looks like.
Yeah, 14 days.
So you can get 14 days worth if you have six days already completion done. You can't miss a day, but you're still good to go. But also that you could do a buyout. I don't know what. Let's see.
I think it's usually like 50 Zen per day,
something like that. Because I have 5 days, and they want 1,500. It was 6,000 for the full thing. Eesh. But that's another option. All right. Some of the things to get your completions, you can run the mission Wish Upon a Star, the mission Taken by Surprise, or run either TFO's Guillotine or Resistance of Starbase 1. What's your guillotine for once?
Resistance of Starbase 1, otherwise known as Death by Spheres.
Yes. I've been doing guillotine the most because I find it more fun. It is new, and it's still even doing it more. Well, I've probably done it close to 30 times now. I still am enjoying it. So, and the reason 30 times is I'm doing it on 2 accounts. The reward is the Infinity Modulator Rifle, the Adaptation Personal Shield, and the Universal Kit Module Adaptation Vinculum. This is part of a adaptation ground set. Yeah. Next up, we have the Fleet Action Report Spooktacular. Apparently, I can't spell in the show notes. We will be doing this on October 26th. I
thought you were going for Spocktacular there. Like you were gonna have this big old Space Barbie Spock event.
I mean, we could. There we go. There is one of the challenges for all 3 of us. We must come up with a Spock costume. But typically, what we do on around Halloween is we like to show off some of the appearances that you can come up with for your characters. So if you have ideas, requests for us, just let us know. You can do that by going to our Discord, or you can go and send an email to fleetactionreport@gmail.com. So that works too. Why don't you take the Avenger part and then go into the new legendary bundle? I'll talk about the Maelstrom after.
Why don't you talk about the Maelstrom now while I reset to the Avenger skin? That way I can show it off while I'm talking about it.
Okay, so they did a write-up, a blog post talking about the Maelstrom torpedo, and essentially they've said that they like the changes that they did to it to make it better, but then like the player base didn't, so they want to come to essentially they want to move it back to a sweet spot that the players will like, with the longer cooldown, big damage, but yet not to a point that it's overpowered in PvP or worthless in PvP. They also noted that apparently the Maelstrom torpedo is completely worthless in a torpedo build, and they did not like that. They wanted to kind of make it be the shining star. It sounded like that's not what they said, but that's the impression I kind of got. They wanted it to be the shining torpedo for the for a torpedo build, and so they want to they have a rebuild coming that they think will help it work with torpedo builds, and it should have like it should still be what people would have wanted for it. So we'll see how that goes. Are you ready?
All right. Yep, I'm good. I'm good. All right. So the Avenger class battle cruiser has been remastered. They just released this in the patch today, and I just switched to it. And this coincides with the legendary bundle that we will be talking about in just a minute. But I just switched to it in the so you can see it here on my screen now. So the Avenger class battlecruiser now has access to the Odyssey material and window options, and it looks really flippin' sharp. I mean, look at that. Looks amazing.
I just put you front and center with it, so that way it's easier for everyone to see.
Yeah, because one of my biggest problems with the Avenger was the Avenger's one of my favorite ships, ship looks, but it really looked its age before. But now it looks so good with the Odyssey skin.
Awesome.
But yeah, the reason they've remastered it is today they released the new Legendary Bundle. And in this bundle comes the Legendary Avenger and the Legendary Bordescu starships. And along with that includes a T6 ship coupon, 2 ship slots, 2 ultimate tech upgrades, 4 Infinity promo R&D packs, Targ of Grethor combat pet, core uniform, Console Universal Prior's World Elite Defense Satellite. And all this can be yours for the low price of 12,000 Zen, now on sale through 10/5 for 30% off.
Awesome.
But the Legendary Avenger also gives you access to the Inquiry skin. Actually, the Inquiry, which is also the Inquiry, what is it? The Inquiry Delta? Inquiry Gamma, which has the better deflector dish that doesn't look like a radiator.
I'm showing the bigger, here's the radiator, here's the deflector.
Yeah, if you want it big in your screen, that way you people can see it.
I do like the new Inquiry look. They did a good job. But for those that didn't know what the other one looks like, yes, here's your radiator.
Who thought that looks cool?
It kind of reminds me of a, yes, radiator, but also kind of like one of those filtered vacuum, like you're cleaning space as you go. Anyway. All right, so that's the new Legendary Bundle with 2 ships that sound like they have some interesting things. They also announced a dilithium weekend. This is going on now until October 2nd. And you get bonus dilithium. You get 100% increase from Volgata asteroid field and the fleet dilithium mine. You only get 50% bonus everywhere else, though that's excluding event reputation projects and such. So, yeah. And thank you, OG Lant or Oglant, for the follow. All right, on to our topic. People can notice I am in a ship I normally don't fly. I'm going to make sure I'm still on the big screen. So I'm going to be switching ships so that way we can show off all the various buttons. And basically, if playing SEO, you probably have noticed many of these ships have special. Some of them are active ability buttons. Some of them are a little bit more passive. But they either have a button bar somewhere somehow that helps you figure out what special about your ship and what it can do. First up, we have
The
carriers.
idea for this episode came because, like, even I, having played for like a couple of years, I'm like, Grebog, I still don't know what half of these buttons do.
Yeah. And I honestly forget half the time what some of the buttons do because, hey, there's so many things. But most of us probably know the carrier and understand the carrier the most. Obviously, so on the top of above your weapons, on the top of the bar, you will have 4 extra buttons. They also are above the hangar pet window, which on my screen is up at the top left. I moved it up there. So you can, if you select for the hangar bay, you can select specifically, like you can have different hangar bays do different things. Or if you select down above your weapons, it will have both hangar bays do one thing. And so the options you have is attack, which then has all your pets attack your current target. If you don't change this off, they just run around, keep attacking whatever you're attacking. You can then, there's another button called escort. This will let your pets go and escort your current ally. So if I select Nikodas and tell them to escort him, they will eventually fly around and follow him around. And they will attack pretty much anything that attacks him. Though since we're not in combat, that won't be seen here. But they apparently do not understand personal space, so they will get darn close to whoever your ally is. Another ability, the third one here is intercept. If you were to put your pets onto intercept, if there are any kind of attackable mines, torpedoes, or other small craft, they will go after those first. When there are none of those, they will just attack other stuff. That's not a question. So it's not like they're not doing anything else. But as soon as a targetable mine, torpedo, or small craft is there, they'll chase them down and take them out.
Very helpful when you're fighting Tholians.
Yes. Also very helpful in Zenkethi stuff. You can have them be on escort and they'll take out destructible torpedoes. And then the final one is recall. And if you do this, they will all slowly disappear and go back into your hangar bays. This is so that they can regenerate. I put also for a fast move. And many of you that have flown carriers will note that if you go too fast, your hangar pets may get out of range and may just disappear. So you could technically call them into the hangars, do the fast far move, and then drop them back out. So that is that. Any questions so far? As I'm about to switch ships.
Should be noted that if you leave the map, your carriers, your hangar pets go bye-bye.
Yes. Okay.
But like the behavior of pets and like the mechanics of pets is kind of beyond the scope of this one. We could do an entire episode about hangar pets.
Oh, this is not the ship I thought it was. I have too many ships. So I am looking for probably this one. So the next up we have cruiser commands. And these they're going to be below your weapons in the tray. Which on my screen is down, down bottom center. You will have between 2 and 4. Some ships have only 2, some ships have 3, and then some will have 4. This ship has 4. Basically, they give you and your allies that are within 5 kilometers a buff. So as long as your allies stay close to you, they can get extra benefits. One of the first ones up is weapon system efficiency, and this reduces the weapon power drain by 25%. So basically, the shooting your weapons won't cost as much for you and your allies. Then you have the next one over is shield frequency modulation. That gives you a plus 10% shield damage reduction and shield regen. So very handy if you are going to take a lot of damage. Then we have strategic maneuvering, which gives you a plus 10% flight speed, plus 3 turn rate, plus 10 inertia. So if you need to, it basically help you get around the map. I don't know many use it, but I mean, it could be handy in certain maps. If you're flying a tank, you will probably want to use this one, which is attract fire, which just increases your threat generation for yourself. It reduces threat generation for your allies, and it also gives you a damage resistance, plus, yeah, and then that damage resistance scales depending upon how many allies are within the 5 kilometers. So, always worth noting. All right.
So now an important thing about cruiser auras is like they don't stack. So like if somebody else on your team is running the weapon system one, then you might as well run strategic maneuvering because I mean somebody else has weapon system covered. Might as well run the either the shield frequency or maneuvering.
Okay. Now on to science. So this also is where the same place as the command cruiser abilities. They have a target subsystems, and you get to choose between auxiliary, engines, shields, or weapons. So after you activate it, you gain a 10-second buff while firing energy weapons at your target. It will create a stacking debuff and on your enemy, and each stack increases the chance, but it's still going to be a small chance to knock that selected system temporarily offline. So if you want to take out their weapons or you take out their shields, you could select that, and for 10 seconds you have a chance of trying to knock their shields or weapons offline. Or if you want them to stop moving, you can target their engines. Essentially, you are doing what you see in the shows when they're saying target their engines or target their shields. And you know. Also on science ships, you have sensor analysis. This typically is right above your hot bars, your bars that you have in the center. Well, I guess you can move them wherever, but default center. And as you can see, it does all kinds of stuff. Essentially, two enemies. If you target an enemy, they gain a stacking debuff, increases damage taken, energy drain losses at 5% and per stack, and it goes up to 6 stacks. So it can go to 30%. Yeah. They'll take more damage, and it's all good. Though mine's saying 6%. Did they change it since? That would mean it goes up to 36. Out of 30, huh? Interesting. If you target an ally, it gives them basically a buff increase in their healing received, both their shields in the hall, and that also stacks. And this also looks like it stacks. It doesn't say a percentage, but it was what I found said 5% per stack, up to 6 stacks. And so, like, let's say I target one of these two and hit it, you will notice it puts this over your head, and it puts basically a pointer to where the person is. Even if they are an enemy, it will still put that pointer on them. Though I think when it's on an enemy, instead of having this blue circle around them that points at them on top of them, it's going to be red. So, but so that is science. I am in this ship because it also is a pilot. Well, I think it might still be considered a scout ship. Yes. Which means it does have raider flanking, which is passive. There is no extra buttons. There is no fun and games here. It just is a passive ability. I put it in here because it technically is a special power for a ship. And it's on all raider ships and all scout ships. And essentially you get a 33% damage boost when attacking an NPC's rear arc. Also, you get an 11% damage boost when attacking a player's rear arc. So they do have it scaled differently for PvE versus PvP. So just so you can see, you'll do way more damage PvE, which is fine. Since I'm already in the pilot ship, I'm just gonna talk about pilot. If you notice, right above my bars, there's also a glowing bar, and then it has the icons, the arrows for pilot ships. You get the charge bar, which is right now fully charged, and the 4 arrows. You can click it, and it will make you move. And when you're stationary, it just slides you sideways. If you were flying around, you'll actually do like a barrel roll when you do left and right. Let me zoom in so you can see a barrel roll. But that is, it's a way to get some extra maneuverability out of it. The one thing to note, if you are ever SOL, or you think you're about to be SOL, flying one of these while a Borg sphere might be blowing up, hit your maneuverability, your pilot maneuvers, because when you move, you gain a brief immunity. So it is a way to survive a warp core breach. And yeah, it is how I've survived warp core breaches. I've been taking a pilot ship into the guillotine just for that. All right. Yes, Jem'Hadar. On to the Jem'Hadar.
Yeah, the Jem'Hadar one I've been trying to get the hang of because I just got my first Jem'Hadar ship not too long ago that has the wingman.
So to note, it's not all Jem'Hadar's ship. It has to be a Vanguard ship to have the wingman. Any of the Vanguard ship, like Jem'Hadar, Vanguard, whatever, has the wingman. We've all seen me fly this ship before. Why did it? Apparently it took out one of my weapons. Oh, nice. Anyway, I'll worry about that another time. So you have the icons of your 2 wingmen. Right now I have it placed right above where my weapons are. These give you control of your wingman. If you notice in the top middle, there is a little chain thing that lets you link, which will then highlight there to show it's linked, or unlink your wingman. Linking it means that whatever command you give one, they both do, and if you have them unlinked, you have to tell them both to do something. So they have 3 abilities that you can activate. I go ahead and put these on my bars because it's then easier to trigger. But you can also go click on them on the nice little graphic that they gave us. But the first one is Polaron Strafing Maneuver. Basically, it will have your wingmen teleport to your side, and then they will move forward, initiating a scatter volley maneuver, doing a fair amount of damage. The second one is technically you can target if you don't target anyone, they will do this to you, or if you target a friend, they will go out and do a structural reinforcement maneuver, which will give 25% shield resistance and a bunch more all healing. So it's a good way to if you're taking tons of damage, to try to heal yourself back up. And then you have Divergent Shielding Maneuver. And this one is just essentially it targets a foe and they lose. It basically is going to try to drain their shield resistances and the shields themselves. So makes it easier to burn through the enemy shields. And then here's one I know I'm coming up on that many people are confused on and don't like, don't understand, or yeah. And that is Singularity Cores.
Oof.
So Singularity Cores, typically Romulan ships. I don't know of any ships outside of Romulan ships that have Singularity Cores. And I don't know many Romulan ships that don't have. But anyway. So here we have, basically you have right here, I'm going to move it. You have a Singularity Core status window. Put it front and it has a power bar that goes, they have a level ranking for it. The power bar scales up till it gets to level 5. The higher the level, as soon as you get one level, you can start using these buttons. However, the higher the level, the more power that's going to be going that will go into it. Think of the power bar as a capacitor. It's showing how much charge you have built up. And the first ability we have here is the Plasma Shockwave, and it does a AoE plasma damage that puts, it's a dot. I mean, it's plasma, so you're essentially starting a plasma fire on everyone around you. I mean, Kramer, a flux capacitor, kind of, yeah. Singularity capacitor. But if you are fighting a bunch of small ships, I do like to use this because it will cause them to, like, it'll take out small craft like no other. Great for when you're going against the swarm type stuff. So with all their little bug ships. Quantum Absorption. This one gives you a temporary hull hit points and a shield heal over time. I don't use this pretty much ever. Warp Shadows. If you're getting SOL'd, basically if you're getting pounded, basically it will cloak you, drops in some decoy clones of your ship, and the Warp Shadows will taunt the enemy. So it's a good way of getting I'm not the target and can save your butt while you can do other things. Yeah, I've used this many times to save my butt. Then we have the Singularity Jump. It is I don't know that I use this one a whole lot. I've used it, one, to get me out of the way. I've used it also to get me, two, if I had enough power when I just finished one combat and there's an enemy ahead of me still, to get me up there. The distance depends on how much of a charge you have. Yeah. But it also will leave behind a small singularity. Don't know what all that small singularity does. But the one that probably most people use is the energy weapon singularity overcharge. And this basically is like beam overload, but on steroid a little bit. If it's at full power, the amount of damage that this does, especially if you're doing a beam overload build, having this plus beam overload going, you'll see some impressive numbers. Yeah. The two abilities I think that people use the most are either the plasma discharge for the AoE, hit everything, get ticking dots on everything, or the singularity overcharge. Did we have a comment? Questions?
I know on my when I was on my Tadaridex, when I was going for like toughy tankiness, I'd use the I think it's the singularity shielding.
Yeah, there's the quantum absorption, which gives you
the
whole
quantum
hit
absorption.
points. I could see for a tank that you would probably use that more. If you're going for DPS, the shockwave or the overcharge would probably be your go-tos. All right, intel ships. As so many ships now have like multiple. They're this and that and this. Let's see. I have an intel ship somewhere. Oh. This is an intel ship. All right. Intel is another one that a lot of people don't get. And I completely understand, because to me, getting it to work properly is hard. Because first thing you have to do, the very, very first thing you have to do before you can do anything else, you have to target an enemy, and then you have to gather intel. Then basically you have to get 6 stacks for the target to become vulnerable. It's once you get 6 stacks, you can then trigger one of 3 abilities. You have expose vulnerability shields, which reduces the target's defenses and shield hardness. Let's see, that's this one here. Oh no, that's critical. I guess that is defensive. Did they change the name? This says expose vulnerability defenses. But it does the, yeah. Damage resistance and also decreased shield resistance, removes all engineering bridge off. Yeah, for foes, yeah, it removes also buffs off of the target. Then you have expose vulnerability weapon systems. This one will remove all their tactical buffs, and it will make their accuracy worse and reduce the damage that they can do. And the final one is expose vulnerability critical systems, and this will basically hold the target for 5 seconds and then remove all their science bridge officer buffs. And the extra benefit is it has a control amplification. So basically it will mean that they will take more exotic damage, and they will be more likely to, well, your control abilities on them will be more potent. Has it helped, Tabby?
What's that?
Did that help?
Yes, that helped a lot.
So yes, you have to gather intel, wait for 6 stacks, and then you have to pick one of the other 3.
See, most of my targets are dead before that happens.
That is my problem with the intel powers. I have that problem too.
So, I'm going to pipe in here real quick.
Yes.
Going back to the singularity jump, I did a little bit of research. Apparently, the singularity you leave behind will pull enemies towards its center and cause minor kinetic damage over time, as well as dramatically reducing their damage, accuracy, and perception.
Okay. Let's see. I need a miracle work. So many ships. Actually, do I have a miracle worker? No, there won't be a miracle worker command.
The Lexington is a miracle worker ship.
Where's my archangel? Yeah, some of them have like some of them will say that they're a blah 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 intel ship. Some of them will say blah blah the Lexington does not say miracle worker in its anywhere in its name. It's just a Heron Lexington Dreadnought cruiser. There are, I believe, 6 of these abilities that can happen. It is typically the bar is right above your tray. It will randomly pick one of the abilities that will appear at the end of the line. Now, you don't get to click it. You never get to click it, but you can time when it goes off. It will then pick based on whatever the power is. If it is a more sciencey power, it typically will pick 3 science bridge officers or a combination of science tech, science engineering. It will have more likely more science involved bridge officer powers to trigger a more science like special ability. But it will pick, once it has the power that's going to trigger, it will pick 3 bridge officer ability types that you have to be used to use it. So whether it be like this time it's showing 3 science. Sometimes it will be, it could be tactical or engineering as well, as I was saying. And you just have to use your bridge officer abilities to trigger it. So if I were to, let me hit this. Once I do, you can see that it highlighted the first one. If I hit the second one, it'll highlight that. And if I hit this third one, it will trigger. And then it will start rebooting. And that is essentially the way it works. It's unfortunate you don't get the pick, but I mean, some of these powers are pretty cool. Even still, it does, as you can see. Also, the reboot doesn't take too long, and it will just pick out of the list again, give you a new power. I think it's likely not going to be the same one. Like here, I have now Plasma Conduit Purge, which kind of is a bit of it does about a bunch of damage, and yeah, it looks like an AoE. And so it takes 2 tactical and 1 engineering this time to trigger it. Yeah. All the things, and I can... And that's... I'm sure some of you have seen that one trigger before going out. But, all right. We have command and temporal. Keep going to the wrong window. For command, I believe my bug ship. I think. Command's a little different. Yeah. So here above the bar again, it's commonplace. I think it's technically, yeah, it's always wherever you have the ship specialty status, which you can move around, put wherever you want. But it has a power bar. While you're in combat, the power bar will build up the full power. Once it's at full power, you get to pick one of the 3 abilities. You can do Turn the Tide. You and your teammates gain a rapid hull regen and gain a damage resistance. Then you have the center one here, which is against all odds. And you get you and your teammates gain a massive weapon damage boost and a reduction of your weapon energy power drain. So your weapon power cost gets drastically reduced. It says 100%. So wow, that seems potent. Then you have battle preparation. You and your teammates' bridge officer ability cooldowns are dramatically reduced. So, and as far as I know, there is not a range on this. I do not see range listed anywhere. It's just you and your teammates. All right. And the last one, temporal. There are so many temporal ships. So when you're in a temporal ship, you'll get to choose one of 3 configuration settings. I do believe, you have to be in combat to be able to pick it. So you have an offensive configuration, which boosts your engine power, speed, turn rate, but it reduces your incoming hull healing, and every 10 seconds in combat, you'll get a stacking offensive counter. Then you have your defensive configuration, gets you more shield power, incoming hull healing, and you're a little slower on your turn and you're a little slower on flight speed. That's the drawback, but you also get a defensive counter every 10 seconds. And then the final one is a support configuration. Here you get more aux power, more exotic damage, more control expertise, but your energy weapons do less damage. And then this gives a support counter every 10 seconds. Once you get to 6 counters, which is the bar underneath, it will track it for you. It will let you use a molecular deconstruction beam. And this does a pretty hefty damage to an enemy. It can also, as you can see here, it says you can use it to heal a friend. So, or actually, no, I think it just does damage. It heals you. So whatever damage, physical damage it's doing to them, think of essentially you're transferring their hull, their structural integrity to you. And then it will disable your foe for 3 seconds. It will consume all of the stacks of your offensive, defensive, and support counters. And then it will give you a control amplification, which means the target that you're doing this to will take more exotic damage, and they will be more, well, they'll have a harder time getting out of your control. So that is all the special magic buttons, I think. And I think we got them all.
That's a lot of magic buttons.
And as you saw me flipping through ships, there are some ships that will have multiple bars and multiple of these special magic buttons. Because like I think there was one that was a pilot and a science, so it had all the sciencey stuff plus all the pilot. Typically, you're not gonna see though a miracle worker mixed with command or a pilot. Yeah. Do we have questions on these? And yes, I agree, Mimith. Intel would be very, very awesome if the enemy ships lasted longer. Because,
they need to update that like they did the Intel abilities.
Yeah, I just think instead of 10 seconds to get a stack, I think they need to cut that time down. Because it's not a bad, it's not a bad ability, bad setup. It's just it takes too long to get a stack for that. Because you're talking, I think it was, what? I'd have to go back. One of them was like 10 seconds to get a stack, but it's just, yeah. Trying to read. Yeah, we do plan on doing an exotic build. And I plan on going through a science ground build as well. I have started show notes for those for the future. When we're gonna get to cover it, I'm not sure yet. I believe next week we are going to do guest stars. Or Nikodas, are you going to be able to be with us next week?
I sent a note to you and Tabby, but no, I'm actually working the next 2 Thursdays.
Oh, well then.
After that, I won't have to miss another show until almost December.
Well, here, what did I have? I have all kinds of show notes already started.
Your EPG build would be a good one for next time.
Sure, I can go through my EPG build next week. I know Kramer's wanting to hear about it, so I also probably need to go through and revamp it, because things change, time changes, you know. We are at 1 hour, though. Do we want to run, say, guillotine just to give some shoot 'em up bang?
Sure, let's do it.
That was going to be my suggestion.
Let's see here.
I have not flown my Arbiter in a very long time.
Is guillotine good for everybody?
Yes.
Sure.
Oh wow, that was fast.
Wee-oo. And this is a T6X fleet Arbiter.
Cool.
Not that I have a screen up, but mine is the brand new one.
It's for the event, Kramer, so not on Elite. I don't know that they even put an Elite version of this TFO in.
The enemy has once when the anchors are...
I do like this TFO.
Yeah, I like this TFO a lot.
All right, so since we are in a TFO, you can see here with my temporal powers, I can select offensive configuration. You can switch between them as needed. I typically set it and forget it, and then use my deconstruction beam when it's available. I do think that they need to cut the time down on the briefing just a little bit.
Yeah.
They do that a lot with new TFOs.
Sorry, Mem, I was going for quick to get in and go since we're at the 1 hour mark. I have been in groups that we've had multiple jellies, and they would basically cover the center, which seems sometimes silly. Which might be what Mem has done. Because you can just pretty much, with a couple jellyfish, cover most of the center, and then everything that spawns, you pretty much are going to wipe out immediately.
Disabling the sphere launchers will give us an edge, but the Borg will regenerate them over time.
Shields failing. Hull integrity below 75%.
Oh, I'd forgotten how much fun this ship is.
Those spheres still hurt.
Submit to our authority and prepare for assimilation.
Submit to my authority. Sorry. So I'm like, yeah, you guys can handle getting the conveyors. Because there's nothing else going on.
The Unicomplex advance has been halted. Deploy the stitching anchors.
Warning. Ship is under attack. Target's shields have failed.
Stitching anchor deployed. Projecting shield now. Stitching anchor deployed.
Someone's
Projecting
gonna come
shield
there. I'm
now.
gonna go somewhere else.
Four shields failing.
Stitching anchor deployed. Projecting shield now. Stitching anchor deployed. Projecting shield now. Stitching anchor deployed.
Oh, they went away.
Projecting shield now.
Go 1 to 5.
Warning. Ship is under attack.
Stitching anchor deployed. Projecting shield now.
Target acquired.
Where is this adapter going? Okay, going back to 4. Oh wait, someone already. Oh yeah, going back to 4. Do. Oh, I guess Gideon's here too.
Ship is under attack. Target's shields have failed.
Borg spheres can intentionally overload their warp cores in battle. Be wary of this tactic. Stitching anchor 1 shield is fully energized. A Borg assimilator is attempting to escape. Stop it if you can.
Resistance will be
Shield fully deployed on stitching anchor 3. Successful deployment of shield to stitching anchor 5. A Borg assimilator has been destroyed while attempting to flee. Stitching anchor 4 is now fully shielded. You destroyed a Borg assimilator before it could escape. Well done. The shield of stitching anchor 6 is fully energized.
I don't know who's over at
Borg assimilator has
what,
failed.
2? They look like they're getting swarmed.
Well,
I ju-
mine just finished, so I'm gonna go help too.
I just got over here. It's clear.
subject to our authority.
Of a free Borg
Although 2 spheres took me out, I didn't realize they were stacked on top of each other. There's an assimilator over here about to escape too.
I just got taken out by
Not
a sphere.
anymore.
A Borg assimilator was destroyed before it could escape.
Warning. Ship is under attack.
Away from the sphere, it's gonna blow.
Stitching anchor 2 is shielded.
There we go. It's done.
Oh man, I forgot how awesome. I know I already said this, but man,
Stitching network.
I'm glad you love your.
The tactical cubes are the source of disruption. Destroy them both to
You get a
stabilize the network.
assimilator on the far side.
Warning. Ship is under attack. Target's shields have failed.
Confirmation. Escaping Borg assimilator
Had an
has been
assimilator on the far
destroyed.
side. Come on. Trigger the deconstruction beam. I want another stack.
With the elimination of the tactical
And that's, again, one of the, like, yeah, this is a cool power. Sometimes you just don't get enough stacks to use it. Probably if I didn't blow up from the sphere, I would have been okay.
Our efforts were most satisfactory on this day. The enemy incursion has been thwarted. Your contributions were a critical part of our success. Well done.
All right.
Through harmony, we are secure. Through unity, we are strong.
So next week, EPG build.
EPG build.
See you out there.
Have safe, be fun, and don't set yourselves on fire.
And you can support us at coffee.com, ko-fi.com/Grebog, or follow us here, you know, yada, yada. Live long and prosper, everybody. And we'll be back. We'll raid somebody.